Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And your host, Asel in my Ukrainian winter clothing. So, today I want to talk to you about confusion, the topic that I think comes up so often that I coach people on. And I am amazed how, like, some of the main desires, dreams, wishes that we don't get to live, we don't get to experience, we don't get to even go towards because of this thing that we do to ourselves. And we just believe that it's something that we can't do anything about. And therefore, I really wanted to give you a tool that you can use as of now and come coaches me as well so that we can really help you get through or over this confusion so you actually continue working on the dreams, building the dreams that you want to. So therefore, I will be talking about what it is that is confusion, right? How it shows up and why we do what we do or we get confused, and then what to do about it. So let's dive in to our definition of what confusion is. And above, you can't really see, but the title of what it is. So, whatever you can see, unfortunately, I can't do much about it, but I will read out all the things that I have written. So, don't worry, you will not miss out anything. So, confusion I see shows up in so many different ways. It's basically uh, either a feeling that we experience, right? We feel confused. We may then do things that feels confusing as well, and then we create results that are very confusing all over the place, or we think we are confused. So basically, we're talking about the blockage along the way of going to somewhere we want to go, and then we experience this blockage, and then therefore we don't really go forward, or we may go backwards, or we just stay stuck where we are. So a lot of the ways that we describe confusion is we feel like there's a lack of clarity. We fear something that may then comes up as confusion, even though we may not recognize it as a fear, but it's more like a confusion, or it may come up as loss, that we will lose certain things. We also may feel uncertainty about it, and we may keep saying to ourselves that there is a right way, right? Or we are fearing some type of failure, and therefore we just stay confused and we don't choose one or the other, whichever the thing we're choosing, or we don't pursue or we don't continue. And this is how it shows up. So the way it shows up is, let's take one topic, right? Whatever it is. So maybe it's something that you are wondering, what is it that I want to do in life? Or what is it that I want to do now? What is it that I want to do in year time? This is something that my clients come to me very often with this question of, I don't really know what I want, is the way that they come to me, right? And they feel confused about it. So a lot of the thoughts that I try to put into these, and this is how where the confusion starts. And the way that we think about that topic is, I don't know what I want. I don't know if it will work out. I don't know which one to choose. I'm confused. I am lacking some more information, or I need more information. There must be information that I'm not accessing to. I'm not sure, this is not right, or there is a right way, right? How to know which one is right, which one is wrong. All of these thoughts or similar thoughts, similar variations that you may experience, they all create the feeling of confusion. Now, what's interesting is that when we feel confused, we often also attract or create more of the overwhelm as well, because we tend to then start like either trying to create a lot of answers to ourselves and then not like our answers, or we don't do anything about it. We just keep waiting for things. We keep searching for things, and also we don't tend to acknowledge or recognize the answers that we have. Therefore, we are so much in this dismissive mode, right? So I was coaching another client the other week, and she was so much in this, well, that won't work, oh, that won't work. I don't think that's the answer, right? It will be like dismissing a lot of the options that she has, and she just kills all of those options on her own because she just believes she's so confused. And then the things that we naturally then don't do is we don't trust our answers, we don't trust our judgment, we don't trust our options or our solutions that we come up with. We don't trust them. We don't own any of them. And it's interesting that I have been coaching several of my clients, and I think they always have this, oh my God, I need a plan. And even though they have already created the plan, but they don't really own that plan because they fear something may go wrong, and therefore they really need to be very specific or very clear. And they don't like, because of this notion or feeling that I'm confused, and therefore they continue wanting to have a plan. And then even if they do have a plan, they don't want to own that plan, and they want to create a new plan or different plan, right? And of course, they don't make any decision around that, because if our brain knows that the on the other side of decision there's a failure, there's a pain, there is something not nice that we believe is going to happen, there's uncertainty, right? Then obviously we will not want to make decision, um, and we will just stay in this, lots of asking questions, lots of keep searching for answers. Maybe you keep scrolling Instagram and YouTube or Facebook to find all the answers you believe that other people have that you don't have. As a result, interestingly, that we create more confusion than before because we have gathered so much more information. And then we believe now we can't really sort things out, or all of those information is not really useful. We may get even overwhelmed and therefore not do anything again, right? Or we feel like we should have figured out by now and we don't, and we feel ashamed for that. And we will just, as a result, don't know which one will work. We will not make any of them work because we don't allow ourselves to even pursue those dreams because we're just feeling like we're confused. So let's get curious as to why we do that. And you can also do this to yourself, is you can say, why do I feel confused? Right? Ask yourself this question. We'll come to the what to do, but as I go through these, you can also ask yourself and reflect on your own situation currently. So one of the ways that I said already, that we don't trust our judgment, we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust our capacity to know which one to choose or which way to go. We don't trust our capacity. And that's, for me, is the biggest problem with confusion. Is if we just stay confused and don't do anything, it's fine. But what I find so pity that many of us do is we continue reinforcing how we are confused and how we don't trust ourselves, or we shouldn't trust ourselves, or how we don't have the capacity to find out or even own the answers that we have or make a decision. We don't really do any of those things. And that cycle perpetuates, right? So then that cycle will go to say, okay, I have never been able to do this, so therefore I'm bad at this. Therefore, I'm not good at doing this. And therefore, we just tend to um, remove all the, uh, dismiss all the achievements and successes that we have until now. We just now stay in, I'm confused and this is how it is. Excuse me. The other thing that I see that's so fascinating why we do that is because staying confused feels safe to us. And that's something that, excuse me, I have been seeing a lot in my clients and my own journey as well, is where we feel like if we are confused and we don't make any decision, then we will not be going in facing those uncertainties, facing those fears, facing those feelings of uncomfortableness, being clear and going for it and making changes. And those things all feel very unsafe, very uncertain, and therefore we just stay in our confused state. Even though those confusion is currently causing us fear or causing us feeling like discontent, disappointed, ashamed. Those are the feelings that we're currently experiencing because we're confused. But our brain somehow feels that those are safe things to do versus going to uncertainty and experiencing other feelings, right? And then the other one is we keep believing that the answers lie with someone else, or some expert will tell us what's the right thing to do, or maybe you are searching for so many different experts to tell you what to do, and then in the end feeling confused again which one to follow, right? Or you believe that more time is needed to find the answers. And if that is the case, get curious as to how much time do you need for you to be actually not being confused anymore, because somehow our brain believes that the more time it passes, the clearer it gets. But it only gets clearer if we proactively do something about it, right? Especially when it comes to our own desires and dreams. Maybe there are situations that is not within our control on the like outside in our world, the circumstances. Maybe those things will get clearer, but even then, why do we want to wait for it? Or what is it that we're waiting for specifically? We can get curious about those things as well. And then the other thing that we believe is that the confusion state can be solved by more information, which is very, it's not necessarily the case unless we are specifically searching for specific information to move forward, right? But we are searching for information with the lens of I'm confused. We will continue being confused and not knowing which one to listen, and we keep dismissing that information as well. And then the reason why we might be confused is also we're just afraid, right? So recognizing that we might be just afraid of going forward, transitioning, going to something new, going to uncertainty, going to situations that feel unstable. Whatever it is, we may be afraid to go for that. And that's absolutely understandable. So staying with us and understanding our fears might be the strategy to go for. So we might be just afraid what may come on the other side, right? And we will now talk about what to do in case of that fear comes as well. So now, feeling confused, one of the main things that we can do is we can question the premise. And I can't stress enough how like freeing and how effective this is. And I really want you to try it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it, but like go and ask your own brain and get curious and question your premise. And the premise, I mean all the thoughts that keep creating those confusions, right? So for instance, I don't know what I want. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it's the right thing. Whatever those premises are, question them. So one of the ways that you can gently question them is what if, right? What if you're not confused but afraid? And if that's the case, then the situation is totally different. Then we're no longer using confusion as a way to what is the word I'm looking for, as a way to facade our fear, right? But rather staying with our fear and understanding and recognizing and having compassion to ourselves. That will help us move forward instead of just lying to ourselves or to keep telling ourselves that we're confused. So making that distinction might be so important to move forward in whatever you're going. The other one is, what if you are the only one who knows what's right or how to make things work? Then what would you do? Would you still choose to stay in confusion? Right? Because I think like as much as we want to listen to experts and to listen to people who have gone through this. And that's amazing that we have those resources and absolutely use them. But no matter how much information you gather, how much experts will tell you what has worked for them, what has worked for their clients, and all the other things, in the end of the day, you need to then take that information and decide what to do with it, right? Just because you have found them, just because you like them and listen to them, does not make any difference in your confusion unless you decide to do something about it. So that's why owning that you are the person, then decide what to do would be another way to go. The other one is that I love is what would you do if you were not confused? Just take your brain to different avenues to go through instead of just staying in one place, right? What are the things, like list of the things that you would do if you were not confused, right? So for instance, you might say, if I wasn't confused, I would just decide to go for one of these things, one of these options that I have. Amazing. So then if you went for that option, then what are the things you would be doing? You would be, let's say that you're figuring out where to go after transitioning, right? So let's say that you would be going to work in the politics back home, like one of my clients wanting to do or exploring the option, right? So if that's the case, okay, what would you do then? You would be talking to people who are in that position. Amazing. Which or how many people or who do you want to talk to? And then you start searching for those people, maybe on LinkedIn, because that's easier way to connect to people professionally. And then you start talking to those people and making some decisions as to that's what you like or don't like, right? So we have moved you from the confusion state to actually doing something about it. The other thing that I love that I use in my own life so much is the question of what if I have the option not to be confused? Or what if I have the option not to choose confusion, whichever it is? Or I even ask myself sometimes, why am I confused about this? Because my brain just wants sometimes to expect the self-pity and just like, oh, poor you, this thing didn't work, and how bad this is for you, and all of this like self-pity I can sense myself that my brain wants to offer. And therefore one of the ways that it offers is that it wants to be confused. And then in that case I recognize that my brain just wanting me to be compassionate to myself, to listening and just saying, do I really want to be confused about this? Or I want to stay compassionate and recognize that these are the things that we're not feeling comfortable, and I recognize that, and then I move to something else, right? So therefore, understanding yourself, why are you choosing to be confused about? Or do you want to spend your time feeling confused about, or do you want to spend your time deciding what to do about the information that you have, or searching information within you, or searching information in Google, or asking for help with a coach, or a friend, whoever it is, right? And then going and moving forward. That I think might be a better spend of your time and energy. So now, once you do that, you start questioning the premise. You start asking yourself, what would you do if you weren't confused? And then, as I said, write down all the steps or all the things you know about that thing, right? And then you can get curious as to where in those steps you feel like you're confused. So instead of feeling confused about all the general topic, you can choose to be confused in one particular area and then decide what to do about it, right? So let's go back to the example of you are transitioning out of humanitarian sector and you are wanting to do something in politics, or maybe you're wanting to do something in university, you're wanting to do something on your own, you're starting your own business, whatever it is that you're doing. You start like listing all the steps of what you could do in starting that journey, right? Because at this point, we're just gathering information from our own brain and choosing what we like, what we require. And then we get like, once we write down all the steps of what would require to go for that, then get curious in which of the areas you are stuck, or which of the, excuse me, areas you're confused, and why are you confused about it, right? And then when you ask your brain the question from this place of, I always know, and um, I figure out how to answer those questions, then your brain will always give you the answer. But if you just support your brain in how confused you are and how things don't work and what's the point in all of this place, then your brain won't stay in this draining energy, in this confused state, and not want to find the answers for you. So therefore, when you get curious and which steps you get confused, and then decide what you want to do about it. And the other one that I really highly recommend as you go through and do this work is build slowly the identity of someone who is no longer confused. And the way you do that is you start not only questioning those thoughts, but you also start installing some new thoughts about yourself and your capacity. Some of the ones that I have written here that I love are, I always know what to do or how to figure out things or how to learn, how to find the answers I'm looking for within myself or from someone else. I always know who to go to and ask for help. That could be another way, right? I always choose to trust myself and my answers instead of choosing to be confused. This is one of the favorite ones that I love because then it gives me so much power to be deciding and going for something instead of just staying in confusion. The other one I like is I don't like being confused, or I don't like being confused and spending time on confusion when I could be spending time on building the thing that I love building or on getting to my goal that I want to, because confusion just makes me circle in one place or regress and not go any further. And because I know myself from that perspective and I know myself what happens when I'm confused, I just choose to not allow myself stay in confusion a long time, but instead I start getting curious and do all the steps of, okay, what are the small steps I could be taking? And where am I confused and what can I do about it? And how can I find the answer to it? And whenever I ask myself, I always ask myself first as to what would be my answer, and then go ask other people if I want to. Because that way I really want to uh, mine my own wisdom, my own answers to questions. And the more my brain gives me the answers to my questions, the more I trust that I always have the answers. I just need to go and look for them. And the other step is owning my answers and recognizing my answers, choosing from my answers rather than dismissing all of them and saying, oh, I wouldn't know, or I don't know, or I can't know, and then just stay in that confused state. So, my dears, if you are feeling confused, or if you're feeling like vague about things, or if you feel like you really need a plan but you don't know how, or you are not able to implement the plan that you have, then absolutely come coach with me, because I have worked on this topic so often with myself and with so many clients that we really need to learn the skill and the identity, create the identity of being the person who is no longer confused, so we can take charge of how we live our lives and do the things that we love doing. So have an amazing week, everyone. I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you.